If you're lucky enough to own a home in New Zealand, you're facing an unprecedented challenge from your local council. Right now, families are now under increased housing pressure, not due to job loss or mortgage defaults, but due to rising council-imposed costs on an already stretched household budget. While pensioners are re-evaluating their budgets just to keep up with rising council rates, families are considering selling their homes. Homes that survived the Great Depression, world wars, and every economic crisis, only to be affected by significant rate increases. While ratepayers face this financial pressure, some councils have increased executive pay and funded large-scale projects, prompting questions about budget priorities. This highlights the challenge councils face balancing infrastructure investment with ratepayer affordability. Your council's spending decisions directly impact your ability to keep your home. What you're about to discover about these spending patterns will concern every New Zealand homeowner. The numbers are staggering. Homeowners across the country are facing an average rates rise of 15%, the biggest increase in more than 35 years. But that's just the average. Some areas are experiencing much higher increases. In the North Island, one district is implementing nearly 9% increases, while acknowledging they have an unbalanced budget. Another region is proposing over 10% increases, on top of a 17% jump just last year. Auckland, up to 14%. Wellington, a significant 16% increase. Christchurch approved 13%. Dunedin's implementing 17.5%. These aren't small adjustments. These are substantial financial impacts on families already struggling. But here's what's particularly concerning. Rural ratepayers are paying the same rates as city dwellers, despite receiving no water, no sewage, no stormwater, and no rubbish collection. They're subsidising services they don't receive while dealing with unsealed roads that require constant maintenance. The infrastructure challenge. Councils cite infrastructure maintenance, inflation, and regulatory compliance as key factors driving these increases. The cost of building bridges has increased 38%, they explain. Sewage systems are up 30%, roading costs up 27%. But here's the key question. Whose responsibility is it to manage these costs effectively? Whose job is it to deliver projects on time and on budget? Council management teams are accountable for these outcomes. This becomes more concerning when councils approve discretionary spending, such as the reported $30,000 Christmas event, while citing budget constraints for essential services. Council project overruns. Let's examine some specific examples of budget management across New Zealand councils. Can you identify which councils these project overruns belong to? Question 1. Which council started a bridge project in 2020 that exceeded budget by $40 million, contributing to a 20% rates increase? Share your answer in the comments. Question 2. Name the council with a water project that cost $17 million of ratepayer money, with final costs likely exceeding $20 million after missing 3 deadlines over 2 years. Question 3. Which council spent $1.6 million on paving between a library and a lane? Question 4. Which council nearly doubled their landfill project budget from $52 million to $92 million for their Green Island facility replacement? Is this your local council? Question 5. Which fast-growing council with expanding towns missed their annual surplus target by $17.1 million due to increased personnel and operational costs? Question 6. Which council requires $2.6 million in unbudgeted emergency road repairs? Comment if you recognise these spending patterns. Question 7. Which council is removing 230 plus trees with ratepayers covering the entire cost? And that $30,000 Christmas event. Can you guess which council approved this expense using ratepayer funds? While households reduce spending and manage tight budgets, councils are experiencing cost overruns in the tens of millions of dollars. This creates an obvious imbalance in financial accountability. The human impact. Let me show you the real-world impact of this rates crisis, because these aren't just statistics. These are your neighbours, your family members, people who've built these communities. Consider a pensioner couple from Tutukaka. They've lived in their modest home for 35 years. A small 106 square metre house on a tiny section. They're already struggling to pay $5,570 in annual rates, but the council is implementing a 28% increase, pushing their bill to over $7,000 a year. Why? Because their home has sea views, so the council's valuation assumes higher capacity to pay. However, they're pensioners on fixed incomes who receive no sewage, no stormwater, no water supply despite their substantial rates bill. Then there's another pensioner couple from Waiatira facing a rates increase of up to 35%. They live on an unsealed rural road with no public transport, no council water, no sewage system, no stormwater, no cycle tracks, no rubbish collection. Yet they're rated at the same level as people in town who receive all these services. They're effectively subsidising urban amenities they'll never access, while their own road becomes impassable each winter. This follows Whangarei's 17.2% increase just last year. The council received 649 submissions from families requesting relief. The response: we cannot implement zero rates increases. These aren't wealthy property investors. These are people who built these communities, who've contributed for decades, now facing affordability challenges that may affect their ability to remain in the communities they helped build. On average, New Zealand households are paying an extra $8 per week under these proposed increases. While $8 may seem modest, it represents $416 more annually that families must find just to keep their property. Wellington City Council provides an interesting case study in spending patterns.
In 2020, which is only 5 years ago, 17 employees were paid more than $200,000 a year. But that number has now risen, as of last year, not this year, to 39. You've got almost 40 staff paid by the Wellington City Council earning over $200,000 a year. Tony, that's extraordinary.
Yes, this council just loves to spend money.
Consider this. While homeowners struggle with affordability, Wellington City Council staff received significant salary increases every year, according to council documents. This shows a widening gap between council operational costs and what some ratepayers can reasonably manage. The government's position adds another layer to this issue. Officials state councils spend excessively. We need rate caps. Councils respond,
if there's a rates cap, it'll make it very difficult for that to happen unless they want to come in and fund everything, which I suspect they don't.
Government response: this highlights how ratepayers continue to face increases amid ongoing discussions over responsibility. Neither level of government addresses the core issue, managing operational costs while maintaining essential services. This political dynamic continues while rates increase annually. The bigger picture. Local government face the challenge of balancing competing priorities to ratepayers. Many councils operate with limited consequences for budget overruns or project failures. Every rate increase represents additional financial pressure on families. Every budget blowout impacts someone's retirement savings or household budget. Every failed project represents a community let down by the institutions meant to serve them. This raises important questions about long-term financial sustainability and fairness in local governance. However, there's encouraging news. People are organising for change. Across New Zealand, residents are calling for more transparent financial management. They're sharing information and challenging council decisions through proper channels. There's an online community group called Challenging Councils NZ, where thousands of ratepayers share information about council spending in their communities. People are documenting real experiences and supporting each other through these challenges. There's also an online discussion group where people coordinate responses to excessive rate increases in real time. These are ordinary New Zealanders engaging in democratic processes to seek more transparent outcomes. The question is, what level of rate increases will you accept before communities ask for greater accountability?
This council just loves to spend money.